Good morning, YouTube. This is Boxingwave, and we are back. 2023 awards continue. This video here is going to be all about the KOs, my top 5 KOs of the year. Let's get right into it. We're going to start out with an honorable mention. I have to mention Jai Opetaia. If you haven't watched him yet, be on the lookout. Look at his fights, man. He's a cruiserweight fighter. I mean, he's really doing damage out here. They just stripped him from a title, but he's still going on, kicking ass. He had 2 crazy knockouts this year. One against Jordan Thompson and the other against Ellis Zorro. The Zorro knockout was just this past weekend on the Day of Reckoning card. I mean, you gotta check this guy out. I mean, Jordan Thompson was a guy that they were really pushing as a prospect. Very, very tall, heavy. I mean, cruiserweight, the size of a heavyweight. Right? They was really pushing. They was really marketing the fight for him. The fight was in Britain, and Jai went in there, destroyed him in a couple of rounds. Started out with a knockdown in the first round. Jai just assaulted this man until he just stopped the fight. The fight was stopped. And then in the third round, I believe the third round is when the stoppage actually occurred. But with multiple knockdowns, and the knockout punch was what Jordan was trying to get back up, but he had a stiff arm, and he just didn't even know what was going on at that time. Jai was just explosive in that fight. And then went on to fight Zorro this past weekend, where he laid them out in the first round with a looping. I think it was a left hand, but he dropped him, had him on his back, and Zorro was laying on the ropes. His back of his head was laying on the ropes, man. This truly out. It's not a top 5, but I have to put him as an honorable mention because he just missed the list for me. We're having 2 crazy knockouts this year. He had a great year. All right, let's start out with number 5. I have to start by saying that I think the number 5 spot goes to Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu knocks out Carlos Ocampo in the first round. All right, I know Ocampo, we already know he lost to Errol Spence in the first round. Picked up a bunch of wins throughout the years, and seemed like he stepped up. Thought this was going to be a decent fight for the time it lasted. It wasn't. It was a whole assault. It was Tim Tszyu said I got arrested for this shit. He basically beat him up in the first round, knocked him out, knocked him down with a right hand. I mean, it was a right hand assault. His right hand was just it was a weapon. He came in, hurt him, dropped him early with the right hand, and Tim just could not miss with that right hand and knocks him out. He went through a right hand, through a left hook at a time where Ocampo's back was turned to him. Tim Tszyu hit him with the left. Ocampo didn't see it coming, got folded, laid out again with his head on the back of the ropes. Crazy, crazy knockout. But it's the position of Ocampo and the angle he was standing. He didn't even see the punch coming because his back was turned, and it was crazy. All right. Tim Tszyu had a phenomenal year. Great. 3 big wins this year for him. All right. Let's go into number 4. Number 4, we all seen this. Joe Joyce against Zhilei Zhang, but the rematch, right? It was 2 fights this year. Zhang beat him, stopped him in the first fight, big upset and everything, and then they had the rematch. They ran it back. Some people thought it was a fluke. Some people thought that Joyce was going to do better this fight. Yeah, in the first round, he looked a little better. He was moving a little bit more. He was using that backhand to block some of those left punches, those sharp, straight left punches, but it wasn't enough, man. And so once Zhang started tagging him and becoming accurate again, I mean, we go into the third round, and Zhang drew a left hand, but followed it up with a right. Joyce's hands was down. He hit him right. I mean, for a man that big, we're talking about a guy that's like 280, 270, 280, and Joe Joyce, he just dropped. His whole body went limp, and he dropped on the ground. He was just laying there with his ass up in the air. I mean, he did get up, but, I mean, he got knocked out, man. It was over. Zhang picked up the big win, and the rematch did even better, and did it in even half the amount of time and as the first fight. And that's my number 4. My number 3, I mean, these are all crazy, right? All of these could be knockout of the year. But my number 3, I have to go with Brian Mendoza against Sebastian Fundora for F154. Title on the line. Mendoza was this I think this is what I'm in the number 1 rank. I don't know if it was a title, but listen, Mendoza, He's getting outworked, outboxed by Fedor. We know Fedor, 6'5" fighter, fighting at 154, real skinny, but a brawler, more of an inside fighter, not a good defensive fighter, a high volume puncher. He's winning the fight. They go like 7 rounds. Fedor is clearly winning the fight, but it's very competitive. Mendoza, really durable fighter, sharp puncher, good power. He's boxing, but he's just not winning the fight. And you got the undefeated Sebastian Fedor, who's been hurt before. He's been dropped before. He's been even outboxed a little bit, but he's always been too much with the volume. You know what I mean? And we saw it, and then out of nowhere, Mendoza hit him with a big right hand, folded him, dropped him, right? Put him down. Fedor got back up, but he was hurt bad. Got him, knocked him down again, and Fedor just could not get back on his feet. Crazy knockout to see a man that's like 5'11", knocking out a guy that's like 6'5", right? Just totally folded him. Man could not continue at all. Crazy knockouts, one of the best knockouts of the year. I think this is one of the earlier fights of the year, but crazy knockout. Check that out. All right. So the top 2, this is where it got tricky for you. And when we're talking top 2s, when we're talking about pound for pounds or fights of the years, this has always been the toughest one between these two. But I knew it was going to be these two, one of these two, and I had to make a decision. And I had to rewatch these. Junto Nakatani, number 2. I had to go. You guys got to know what number 1 is. Number 2, I got to go with Junto Nakatani stopping Andrew Maloney in the last round. The last round with a very competitive fight. The last round out of nowhere, Junto Nakatani threw an overhand right from the heavens, right? Close range. And Maloney's face was just, his head was moving towards the punch. There was no blocking. There was no nothing. He hit this guy as clean. It looked like the guy got hit with by a car. He walked right into that punch, and he just folded and fell out cold. Out cold. Maloney was stopped in the 12th round in a competitive fight. What a fight. What a knockout. I mean, everybody's seen this shit. I mean, this was early in the year, and everybody was declaring that this was going to be knockout of the year. And honestly, for most of this year, and my number 1 fight just happened a couple weeks ago, all right, to end the year. And I had to go with Rayo Valenzuela against Chris Colbert, man. It's just, I thought I had to go with Junto Nakatani, but this knockout of Chris Colbert was so crazy. And a lot of people are happy because Chris do so much talking. And the fact that most people don't even think he won the first fight. They thought it was a robbery. And, man, Valenzuela came out. Rayo came out stronger this fight, doing better, putting pressure on, outboxing him, outworking him. It's not nearly as competitive as it was in the first fight. Chris Colbert is just getting outworked, and he's making it seem, how Chris Colbert, he makes it seem like he's too cool. When he's losing a fight, he wants to still showboat a little bit. He wants to talk in the ring. He wants to act like you're not hurting him. But in this fight here, man, this guy Rayo destroyed him. Hit him with a big, I believe it was, was it a left? It was a right. It was a sweeping right hook. Caught Chris right on his jaw. Chris turned and fell, dropped, face down on the ropes. Didn't just laid out on his stomach. Legs is all turned. I mean, even a guy on his corner who was right there is looking at him, shaking his head. Looks like he's probably not listening to his corner. He's just laid out. And then your boy Rayo turns around, drops down, and poses. And they take the photos, and the photos went viral on social media. I mean, I don't know. There's no way. There's no better way to get avenged for a loss that you don't believe that you should have felt. I mean, the guy even let him keep the money that they bet. I think they bet like $50K on outside that, they were going to win the fights or whatever. The two fighters, and Rayo is saying, I don't even want the money, man. Let's keep the money. I mean, the embarrassment alone, man. Chris Colbert getting knocked out like that. Crazy, crazy. That's my number 1. Anyway, I got more 2023 awards on the way. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Leave comments. Tell me what your top 5 is, or tell me other fights that I didn't mention. Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.